New trowel time, guys. This is the first time that I have bought and used a new trowel in a long time. So we have a Marshalltown stainless steel 13 by 5, and I believe that this is like the gold steel, or they have a name for this type of stainless steel that's this color. It's that, you know, it's the same color that this trowel was. This is an old curry trowel. They don't make curry trowels anymore. I've been using this for at least like 7 years probably. It's still in really good shape. I drop it and somehow it's like still not bent and has no nicks or dings in it. But I've been thinking it's time to try a new trowel. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta sand these edges down, because a brand new trowel, like, I think it's gonna cause me grief anyways. Brand new trowels aren't that good for skimming because that sharp edge doesn't like kind of compress and squish the mud down nice. And I've got to do some pretty tight skimming today, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this. I've always wanted to try one of these Marshalltown trowels. I've seen them on the shelves for years. They were more expensive than the curry trowels, which is one of the reasons I never bought one. I think I paid like 60 Canadian for this. Trowels definitely get more expensive, but you know, back in the day, I probably paid like 40 Canadian for those curry trowels. The edges are really pointy too. I should probably get a file and take those down, but I don't know. Why not let it be what it is for now? All right, I think that's gonna be good enough. Now this is gonna be a little bit like some of my skate videos for some of you guys, because to me, this one goes out to the skate heads. This totally feels like an indie trowel. It's different than this one. The handle feels taller. So when I look at it, it's definitely about a 1/4 inch. Like this part where your hand makes contact is about a 1/4 inch taller than this trowel. So that's gonna put my hand further away from the action. And I feel like I'm gonna have slightly less control on this one. This is like my broken in old Thunder trowel. Anyways, I think it's time we give this a try. I need to skim out these ceilings, and yeah, we'll see how I feel about this thing. And this is also a continuation of the plaster tie-in job, so you guys will get to see how I choose to finish this out. Yeah, those edges still feel sharp. Feels more flexible right off the bat. It's more flexible than what I've been using. I'm kind of into the 13 by 5s. So this is 1 inch wider than what I've been using, or 1 inch longer. Same width. Look at those beautiful bubbles. So where I might struggle is trying to mash those bubbles flat. Because like I said, I feel like a really broken in trowel usually does a better job of that. And so getting to the plaster tie-in info, if you remember, I coated, what did I do? I did the ceiling first and made it pretty perfect, and then did the wall and left it short a little bit. So there's like a 1/2 inch of bare paper. So this time what I'm doing is I'm going to get the ceiling again skimmed out really tight, but because it already has a nice perfect sharp corner, we can now ride right up to the edge when we do the wall. Dropped a little bit of mud. Okay, let's see how this feels. I mean, new trowel feathers an edge really well, like really well, the sharp edge, but I don't think it's gonna mash these bubbles flat very easily. Actually, it's pretty good. I actually really like this trowel. It must be like an indie. For the skate channel, guys, I just recently started riding indies again after 6 months of Thunders. We're talking about skateboard trucks for everybody who has no idea what we're talking about. Skateboard trucks is the part that attach the wheels, the metal part, the aluminum part that attach the wheels to the board. I like this trowel. The flex is really good. Like for a brand new trowel, it got those bubbles real nice. This is really smooth. And now we just need one last pass here to get that perfect. So fortunately, I am able to skim this tight. I don't have to like skim it tight and then float it again. Like it's gonna sand out real nice. So yeah, clean up these edges. Yeah, so far so good. Just like the feel of this. Okay, you guys. One thing to always think about when you're skimming a painted surface like this, a previously painted surface, and you're getting those crazy bubbles, if you load it in one direction, you know, we talk about this all the time, you load it in one direction, and that starts to fill the air pockets on one side. So give it a few passes to really kind of mash them in there. Then, once you start going this way, oh man, I really should be sharpening my old trowels more regularly because that feathers so well. But once you start passing this way, looks like I need one more. That way. Just takes a little bit of back and forth to get those pinholes really well filled in. Oh, I forgot to fill this first. Yeah, other than the fact that the edges are a bit too new and sharp, I mean, they're feathering well, but like just the general feel of those sharp edges isn't that nice. Like on the Hawk. But the way it's performing and the way this trowel feels, it's really nice. I'm not really noticing that the handle's higher very much. What I am noticing is that it's just a good feeling trowel. And no, this isn't a Marshalltown ad. Like, I've never tried one of these. I just actually legitimately like the flex, the feel. Brand new, this thing feels great. And the handle, the rubber handle actually feels really nice and grippy. We'll see, maybe it'll just become a crusty white handle like my other one in a month or two. I had to thin my mud down a little bit. I had it definitely too thick, because as soon as you start working with it on the wall, especially doing a tight skim, you lose a lot of moisture and the mud becomes fairly hard to work with pretty fast. Gotta try not to get too much into this corner or I'll wreck that three-way that I was just filming a video about. No, not that kind of three-way, you guys. Get your head out of the gutter. Okay. Yeah, the flex on this is substantially more than my current trowel. If I haven't said that about 4 times. Maybe this is my current trowel now, because I actually am really liking it. I feel like when these edges break in, it's going to be such a good skimming trowel. Yeah, the size of it, like 13 inches versus 12, it's really nice. It's cleaning off the Hawk a little bit easier, so I'm liking that. And I'm also not really finding the change in handle height to be a problem, because I've just kind of learned something about where the functional parts of the trowel are. When I'm using the trowel, I have my hand right down here like this, you know, I'm pulling it. And so I'm always very close to the bottom anyways. I'm not necessarily even using the handle that much. The only thing I notice is that, yeah, it's a bit more of a stretch for my hand, but I'm not noticing like a lack of control by having the handle a little bit further away from the trowel. Not like I thought I would. So yeah, overall, it's really good. There's a bit more of a bow on this one than on my curry trowels, like as in flex this way. So that's gonna make it really nice for skim coats, but not quite as good for laying on a really flat loading coat. But yeah, like because of the flex of this, I do think that this is going to be my new skim coating trowel. Overall, yeah, it's feeling really good. Okay, so getting back to the sequencing of this job, I've already done this ceiling, and what I decided to do was actually do the ceilings and then go to the other rooms first before even starting on the walls. So this has now had a little time to dry to help the inside corners be just a bit firmer and less likely to mush them up. And because it's such a thin coat, it will have dried pretty quick. So even though it's a bit more legwork going from room to room a couple times, I think it's going to help make it a lot easier to get a nice crisp corner in these. So that's the little sequencing technique that I'm using to try and get some crisp corners in here. You know, without having to use corner tools and have more stuff to clean later. Oh. The Neela trowel that I bought once, it was a 4.75 by 13. It would make that sound all the time, like the and that's why I never used it. It felt like it was a decent trowel, a bit too stiff though, and I think it was the stiffness that made it do that. And so I would have to wipe it at a different angle, and I couldn't get used to it. And because of the sound it made, once I heard it in a couple videos that I was filming, because this was in the time that I was already filming YouTube videos. Once I heard that sound, I couldn't use it because I knew I couldn't actually change my muscle memory to suit the trowel. Okay, let's get this cleaned up a little, just real gentle so I don't scratch the ceiling. And that'll be good enough. Okay, I should have coated this side already, but it'll be okay. You guys want to get an up close look real quick? I know it's hard to see what's actually going on here sometimes. Okay, so we could see there's a little bit of stuff to sand out on the ceiling. It's very minor. The corner is definitely still going to wind up crisp. A little bit of stuff in there. Overall, you know, pretty good. We got one lift off right here, very minor. And again, those feathered edges, like to feather an edge this well over top of this kind of coarse paint job, that's what having the brand new edge does. But I do like the way they work mud better when they're more broken in. So I'll have to give up that beautifully feathered edge for the more broken in trowel that I like. Okay. Yeah, I really like this. Oh, touch the ceiling. That's okay. It's a little bit, it'll sand out. These rooms are really dark and don't get any natural light, so it's a bit forgiving too. I mean, I got my YouTuber light illuminating the whole thing right now so that you guys can see what I'm doing and so that I can see what I'm doing. Uh-oh. I sense a new trowel addiction coming. Gotta try them all. No. I mean, this one feels so nice. I don't see why I would need to, but I'm sure there's some other good trowels out there. You really didn't like the Nila, way too stiff, but I'm sure they have other ones. Craft makes a lot of nice trowels with some like fancy, some really fancy handles. Not that that'll make any difference in how it functions. And soon enough, it'll just be covered in mud anyways, like those stained ones, the really cool stained ply looking ones. Those would, like they'd get covered. You'd have to clean it off every time. And I don't know, I'm not that kind of guy. Okay, so I don't know how much more you guys need to see here. Last time I loaded this with the 6-inch knife. Today I'm loading it with the trowel because it's kind of easier to get a more perfect little amount up there, like that. I'm doing it differently because I'm skimming this time. I didn't need to do that. I'm dragging all that crud up from behind the casing. But like I've said in past videos, doesn't matter how you put it on. It only matters how it looks when you take it off. One last one to get right up in that corner. And even though I'm riding the corner, I don't push very hard. And I'm going to show you guys something here. Okay, I don't know, maybe the filmer can try and get up close here. Not yet, not yet. Okay, if you can get up close and see that kind of like mushed up, crumbly mud in the very corner, is that registering?
Yep.
So I'm gonna try and pass slowly so you guys can see it. Usually a second pass, a second gentle pass will help compress that stuff. And also, it's not the end of the world because it'll sand out. I'm not really liking that little bit I have up at the top yet. Let's see if we can clean it out a bit better. Yeah, we got more of the crumblies. But honestly, that stuff will sand out and fill with paint. So I should stop fussing because that's good enough to sand. And on that note, I think I'm gonna finish coating this job off camera so I can actually get it done. Okay, almost done. I saved the last corner to try and show you guys something. One thing real quick though that I've been loving is wiping off the backside of the trowel because it's so smooth that it just feels different than mine. Oh, we're losing some. Yeah, it's definitely the 13-inch trowel on a 14-inch hock is real nice. I've also only had it do the annoying noise a couple times, so I do have to get used to it. I do have to change the angle a little bit, but it's not as much as the Nila. But okay, what I wanted to show you guys was just how I tackle a corner like this, because I just made a video on the other side of the room about doing a 3-way corner. But when you're doing a job like this, you don't always have the time to go and tackle all the 3-ways like that. You just have to coat it out and have it be good enough. So I'm gonna try and just show you guys, you know, what an acceptable 3-way corner would be without taking the time to do the little intersection. Because like I'm saying, most of the time, a lot of the time I don't. Like, doing my 3-way corner method, and it's not mine, it's just the standard method, but doing the standard method is definitely the best way and the easiest way to get a perfect 3-way corner. But in a lot of cases, it's not actually what I do. So like I mentioned, I think in my last video, I like to coat both sides. I'm going right up into the corners on every one. The ceiling is already coated, so we only have to worry about the walls. And I usually use my knife to just really kind of get into each corner. So now that we have that, ooh, glassy smooth. Now that we have that, we can start feathering our edges. And guys, I haven't said it in a long time because I hate cheesy YouTuber things, but if you haven't already, feather that like button. I said it for you guys. I don't care. Do whatever you want with your like button. Just don't tell me about it. Okay, I'm working on getting into this corner right now. I'm leaving the top. And unfortunately the lighting, you won't be able to see this one as well because the light's shining directly on it, but I'm now working on getting right into the corner. As close as I can. I'm leaving the top inch roughly. And I'm now gonna tune that up. Okay, so now we are at the point, I don't know how close you can get in on this stuff, but you can come a little closer if you want, because I really want people to be able to see this. Maybe we'll get the light even closer. Okay, so now you guys can see where we're at. This stuff all needs to be tuned up, so it's leaving the crusties in the corner. One more pass should take care of it. One more. That's good enough. I'm gonna do one down this way just to clean that up. This needs a little. We're over here, sorry. Couldn't help myself. And now we're getting right into this corner. My knife's a bit crusty. Now we're getting right into the corner. I'm collecting a little mud to bring it right into that corner. And gently, one back. I used the top of my blade to clean off the edge. It may have been hard to see, but this is acceptable. I could leave this. All of this can be sanded, and I didn't do my three-way method. I'm gonna bring you guys up close and show you. Okay, so getting in here, there is nothing that can't be sanded out. It's fairly crispy, really. And there's, you know, some little things. We're really up close though. We got that stuff. All of that stuff is going to be sanded. I have to use my knife to scrape that out when it's dry. But with a quick sanding and a coat of paint, well, 3 coats of paint probably, at least 2, this will be really nice and crisp. Well, you guys, I like this trowel. Marshalltown makes a decent trowel. Again, a little bit too flexible maybe for first coats. So I'm not sure if this is gonna be my one and only trowel. I'll try it on a first coat someday. You know, coating some corner beads and stuff, see if it leaves it too hollow or not. There's a fair bit of curve though. It really might leave it too hollow, but it's generally, you know, for not being like a super duper expensive one, and guys, 60 Canadian is not 60 US. I mean, seriously, learn about exchange rates, those of you that were horrified at that price. Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Just, you know, Marshalltown makes a good indie. That was one last one for the skaters there. Yeah, I'm done. This video's done. This job is now ready to dry out and be sanded tomorrow. I hope you guys are doing well. I keep forgetting to say that. I actually like my little tagline. I hope your projects are going well, but I hope you're doing even better. Thanks for watching. Till the next one.